Hey everyone, it's Dr. Amitai Warov. It's Thursday afternoon. Here we are live on Facebook. And if you just happened by us, but you haven't liked us yet, please like us on Facebook so that you'll get notifications of what we're going to talk about and when we're talking about it. And then you will be in your feed as well. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please go ahead and do that so that you'll get notifications when we upload these videos to YouTube. And sometimes that's easier to share with other people too. This week we're talking about exercise. We're heading into fall officially. The weather's getting colder, at least where we live here. And exercising is a little bit more challenging. Being more active is a little bit more challenging. And even year round, people will ask, hey doc, what's the best kind of exercise? And the answer is always the kind that you'll do. There's different benefits to different kinds of exercise, but if you don't do them, then there's no benefit to it. So the exercise that you will do is the best exercise, and we tend to do what we like. So for me, I really like hiking. I enjoy swimming. I like playing tennis. Those are things that I like to do, so I'm more apt to do them. I don't really like running. There's other things I don't like to do, so I don't tend to do them. Doesn't mean I can't do them, doesn't mean I wouldn't do them. But it's going to take extra effort on my part, probably get an accountability partner, have someone who motivates me or inspires me to run or do whatever else I don't like to do. So the kind of exercise that is best is the kind that you'll do, and the kind that you do is usually what you like. Now, there's different types of exercise, and for the purposes of today's video, I'm just going to touch briefly on a few. And one is cardio, cardiovascular exercise. If we look broadly at 4 different categories of the benefits of exercise. One is strength, another is cardiovascular health, another is flexibility, and the fourth would be really neurocognitive or neurological health in terms of coordination. We'll call it coordination is the fourth category. So, exercise like getting on the elliptical, going for a run, or even going for a walk, doing steps, doing stair work, rowing, any of those things is going to get our heart rate up. It's going to have other benefits also. But when it comes to cardiovascular health, that tends to decline pretty early in our lives because we start to sit for most of our lives pretty early. Really, once we're not playing sports in high school or whatever, being let out for recess or being forced to go to gym class, a lot of us pretty much sit the rest of our lives. So we don't get that cardiovascular health. So there's our heart is pumping blood to everywhere in our body, and if that, that's muscle tissue, and if it's not being exercised, then it will atrophy. And that's where we have, number 1 killer in this country is heart disease. Obviously, there's lots of factors, but when we have a deconditioned heart, that's a big factor. The second is, like weight training, weight-bearing exercise, particularly for women. That's going to be an important component of exercise. Women in general will tend to gravitate more towards cardiovascular exercise, yoga, which are great forms of exercise. But because women are going to suffer from things like osteopenia, osteoporosis at a way higher rate than men do, having weight-bearing exercise is going to be really important there. Also, number 1 sign of aging is a loss of lean muscle mass. So we know that as we lose that, that's number 1 sign of aging. Best way to turn back the clock physiologically, even though we can't turn it back chronologically, is by adding muscle tissue. Third, really flexibility. This goes for all of us, more men than women, in terms of losing flexibility. Men tend to be less flexible in general, and as we become more sedentary, we really get locked down, and that's where we lose that flexibility. So certainly stretching, yoga are great. Yoga is great for anybody, and there's different forms of yoga. Some focus more on, more of a higher intensity, some more on flexibility, some more on strength. All are components there. But this is something where utilizing exercise and then following up with stretching or doing exercise that includes more flexibility based is going to be really important as we age as well. And then the fourth is really coordination. And so one of the things we talked about in the post for this was nonlinear movement, because everything tends to be, we're running in a line, we're pushing weights front and back. Everything we do is very one line of one vector of movement. So nonlinear things like playing soccer, basketball, really sports where there's dynamic movement and having to change movement based on where the ball is, where the players are. That's where sports can be really effective. It's probably the best form in terms of nonlinear movement, which activates new neurological pathways in our brain. So that is going to not only help with our coordination and balance, because we know as we age, our balance doesn't tend to get better because we're very much in this linear line, straight forward, back. And the other thing is, what we're finding out more is if we create new neurological pathways, it has neuroprotective benefits to prevent or give us protection against things like dementia, Alzheimer's. So lots of different forms of exercise. Bottom line is whatever you're going to do is going to be the best one for you rather than not doing, because there's great exercise out there that a lot of us aren't doing, but it doesn't help us if we're not doing it. If, like I said, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, you haven't liked us here yet, please do that. You'll get more information like this. If you have questions about what we talked about today, please comment, post here on Facebook. We'll answer those questions for you. If we can help out in any way, we'd love to do that. You know, one thing that chiropractors have been doing for over 120 years is looking at the big picture of health, how we're moving, how we're thinking, how we're eating. Really the triune of health, eat well, move well, think well. We've been looking at this for over 120 years. It's just in the last couple decades that culturally we're putting more emphasis on that, and we need to, because we're becoming more and more sedentary. So get out there, do what you like to do, and if you're not doing anything, think about what you might have liked to done in the past, or what you always thought about doing. And there's lots of ways that we can help each other out. We're here to help you. We'll look forward to seeing you next Thursday here on Facebook Live.